But let's move on from Greg Roman. Let's move on. That was kind of like a fun segment to talk about. Let's talk about there's just so many things, but we can talk. I don't want to talk about Greg Roman, so I'm reading through these questions. A lot of them are about Greg Roman.
Cause everybody's tired of Gregory just like we are. But I get it.
Here's a question from Adam78. This one's less about Greg Roman. He says, yesterday on ESPN First Take, Stephen A. and Keyshawn Johnson were talking about how Baltimore and Harbaugh's old school philosophy of being a run heavy, control the clock, and relying on defense team ain't going to work much longer with all opponents being pass heavy and scoring dependent, along with how it doesn't take the Ravens deep into the playoffs year after year for nearly a decade. Do you agree? What do you think, Joshua? Is this philosophy something that can work in the NFL?
The way the excuse me. When it comes to the world of sports, from the MLB, the NBA, and the NFL, we have constantly seen there's been some type of superstar in these major three leagues that has changed the game tremendously in some type of way. We watched the LeBron era and Kobe Bryant era, and now we're at the Steph Curry, um, KD, now the Trey Youngs, John Morant, Zion Williamson. In the NFL, we went from the Michael Vicks, Tom Brady's, the Ray Lewis's. Now we got who could we say? Oh, excuse me, Deion Sanders. My bad. We had now,
Sure.
now it's the Jalen Ramseys, the Patrick Mahomes. I gotta throw Joe Barrow in there, Lamar Jackson, and so forth. So as the world keeps on evolving, as sports keeps on evolving, you're going to see some things come back to fruition, and you're going to see old things make new wrinkles in different eras. Now, I feel like a top 10 strong defense will always win you a championship. I strongly and wholeheartedly do believe that. I'm still going to always believe that, because even though, yes, we have seen some of the past teams win these Super Bowls, they still had a top 10 defense that helped get them there to the Super Bowl and helped solidify their win. The only team I may say that didn't solidify their win was just recently the Cincinnati Bengals. But they played there was the better defense was with Aaron Donald, so. But do I think the time of possession and the run game is going to sustain us? No, I do not, because we have seen many times where teams have stalled us out. I do feel like we do need to stop zigging and zagging. I do feel like we need to do a little bit copycatting, and also still have our own identity. We're not saying be a complete a whole passing team. No, you can still run the ball, but we talked about this many a times. Keeping opposing defenses honest, and not always, having them know what we're going to run. So we've seen that, way too many times. But I do feel like, with a top 10 defense, it will still win us championships. But as far as running the ball all day with no type of passing play, or no effective passing game that's going to lead us to touchdowns, or keep opposing defenses honest, I don't think that's going to help us out if the organization truly is aiming to be a Super Bowl franchise winning type of organization.
Yeah, this is a tough one, because I believe that it works because of the way that the NFL. I think a lot of people are yet to see the change in the NFL recently, because the NFL is an always constantly evolving
Mm-hmm.
product. Like Joshua, you brought up, in terms of the eras, the NFL is getting more and more like it was when it was first conceived at the beginning of the Super Bowl era. And you guys may be like, why is that? Well, because it's short, quick passes, and it's running the football now. And yes, there are deep threats, but I mean, even the average depth of target is way down. The average time to throw is way down, and not time to throw because of sack pressure. Time to throw just in how long it took them to throw, because they're just throwing these quick, short, intermediate routes, and that's something where, because that's also how the defense is playing. The defenses are now playing back. That's why we're seeing less and less big touchdowns, deep balls. Do we see them? Yes, but it's less so than even last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. That's because defenses are figuring it out. Offense is typically ahead of defense, all right? They typically figure it out. And we're moving backwards, not in a negative sense, but we're moving backwards in time because high school sets the trends in the NFL. High school sets it, then college catches on, then the NFL we see it. We saw teams running the RPO 10 years ago in college. Takes time for the NFL to start doing it. We see all these little things. How was football played in the 1920s? How was football played in the 1930s?
Just running.
It was quarterback running. It was quarterback, and when they threw, it was a hard play action. It was a quick throw. Now we're not going exactly to 5 guys at the line of scrimmage, all huddled together, but the mobile quarterback RPO quick throw. The RPO is new, but the idea of it's a play action quick throw, that's not new. So we are slowly transitioning. We're not there yet. But when you look at all of these players that are coming out, you look at the top-rated quarterbacks, they're mobile now.
Yep.
And they're getting more mobile, and they're going to be running more read option. And, there's always going to be, guys like that people draft that are trying to be like Tom Brady, right? The Mac Joneses, okay?
Yep.
Mac Jones isn't going to be Tom Brady because Tom Brady played in a different era. Tom Brady played in an era where the deep ball became king. And he was able to throw the ball really quickly, but Tom Brady was great because he was so smart and the defenses were so good in that era. And the run game was so good that you had to be a great quarterback. This era of quarterbacks is significantly worse than the previous era. Significantly. And you can say Patrick Mahomes is on that level. I'm not going to argue with that. But 2 through 7 is probably all worse. Like, who would you rather have, Josh Allen or Peyton Manning? Everybody's taking Peyton Manning. Who would you rather have, Lamar Jackson or prime Aaron Rodgers? I love Lamar Jackson. But prime Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback ever, right? The 5th overall, what is it, Joe Burrow? Do you want Joe Burrow or do you want, prime Big Ben?
Much as I can't stand the Steelers, I got to go with Big Ben.
It's just something where it's okay, the quarterback play is decreasing and the quarterback play is different. I do think you can win with defense. Defense is just played differently now.
Yeah.
It used to be in the 2000s, it was you get up them and you stop them immediately, but that allowed the deep ball. Now the defense is way less aggressive. It's let's stop the deep ball, try and get a sack in a coverage sack. It's very different than what it was 10, 15 years ago. So the 2000s Ravens defense is played extremely different because that was crazy pass rush and blitzing and, winning one-on-ones and all that stuff. It's we don't see that anymore. That's not how defense is played. Now it's don't let Tyreek behind you. Let them go 13 plays on a drive.
And also when it comes to the NFL, we got to think about it too. As time progressed, rules have changed. So that's also played a big part in the game. I mean, hell, we all know the tuck rule with Tom Brady and everything like that. We all know about the head hunting, with Vontaze Burfict and guys like them. So as much because me personally, I love some guys that that don't mind playing that plays with reckless abandonment. I mean, hell, that's what defense is all about. You're supposed to have a couple screws loose when you're playing defense, especially if you're in that front 7. Let's be honest. If you're running against Derrick Henry, I need my linebacker to be crazier than hell to go up against him and knock the stew out of him. If Derrick Henry was playing in Ray Lewis era, and I know people are going to comment and say I'm crazy, but I believe Ray Lewis will floor Derrick Henry. If you take Ray Lewis in his prime, I'm sticking with that. I'm taking Brian Urlacher over Derrick Henry and the reason I'm saying that, because those were guys, they was motivational, they was the heart of the defense, but also they played with a dog mentality in them in a physicality where they could not be stopped or beat. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
You can't hit like you used to.
mm-hmm.
The heavy hitting safety is no longer in the NFL. There are no Cam Chancellors anymore. Why? Because the NFL has outlawed them basically.
Yeah,
The linebackers are getting smaller. The corners are getting it's more about like athletes and less so about crazy dogs that are just uber physical. We don't see that in the linebacker position anymore. There's a lot of good linebackers, but they are not playing like they did in that era. It's just a different era.
yeah,
You can win with defense in the run game. It won't look like how it did when the Ravens won with Jamal Lewis and the 2000 Ravens defense. It'll look very different. I think you can still win like that. It's just in a different way. Like the Ravens defense isn't playing to be, locked down every snap.
yeah.
It's playing to get turnovers, and the offense is controlling time of possession, but I think that's a good thing. To beat most of the good teams in the NFL, you have to control time of possession. The Ravens just don't have I said I didn't want to talk about Greg Roman, but the scheme sucks. Okay, that's why.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You know?
That's why. They can't win with this scheme, but you can win with running the football. Because I think a lot of people don't understand. The LA Rams are a running football team. The Green Bay Packers are a running football team. The San Francisco 49ers are a running football team. The Philadelphia Eagles are a running football team. And all of those teams have good defenses, and that's how they're supposed to win. Do they have playmakers in the passing game? Yes. But they set the tone, and they dominate through the run. Through Aaron Jones, through Christian McCaffrey, through now it's Cam Akers, but it used to be Todd Gurley under Sean McVay when they made the Super Bowl. Even the Buccaneers, they want to try and run the ball, right? Through Lenny, their whole offensive line is just hurts, and now they have to throw the ball, and that's why they're bad. But Joshua, is there anything else you want to talk about today?
Do we really speak on it, or do we let it be with the beat writer, WBAL, ESPN guy?
Jamison Hensley. I'll say this. Matthew Judon said it first, right? There's a reason Jamison Hensley is not very well liked already, and then he just does stuff like this. It's just annoying.
I mean, and we can keep it real brief, honestly. Me personally, I do understand that like sports writers, they have a job to do, and that is to put out, some of the best articles, report, on whoever team they're supposed to be reporting, and sometimes it's also clickbait as well. And that right there was clickbait. Now, when they asked John about his tweet about Lamar Jackson's tweets, we're gonna have a talk about it. That gave me father-son mentality, like, I'm the daddy here. I know Coach Boone was on Gary Burt's head back on the Titans, who was your daddy and everything like that. But come on now. This is the NFL. We supposed to have a freedom of speech. I do hope Lamar Jackson does take a break from social media for the rest of the season. Me personally, because at the end of the day, these athletes are still human. They still do have emotions and feelings, and sometimes you're gonna catch them on a bad day. And honestly, that was a bad day. He got tired of people running their mouths. He wasn't trying to put the game in the hands of his Hall of Fame kicker. Nobody wants to do that, especially with a quarterback of that talent. But he was trying to, do what the best he could do. Did he mess up? Yeah, we will get on this. We will get on this show. We will record episodes. We will go live. We will say, well, Lamar did mess up. But there was 5 drops. 5 drops. 3 that could have been hauled in for touchdowns. So all this cannot continually be on Lamar Jackson. But man, I just didn't like that, man. Some things you as a writer though, you don't have to dive into. I know Stephen A. Smith, he gets paid to do the things that he do. But it's like he's a character now. He's not even a writer. He's not even a writer no more. He's a whole character for ESPN. That's his personality. You know,
Yep.
so I hope when Lamar Jackson faces the media Thursday, tomorrow, or Friday, he just ignore those questions for
Yeah.
his health, for his mental health.
Absolutely. I think that's a good way to wrap it up. Everyone listening to the podcast platforms, thank you so much for listening. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out the first segment, and check out the podcast as well. But thank you all so much for coming through. Subscribe for Daily Ravens content, and we'll see all of you again next time.